My name is Madison Torres. I'm 22 years old, and 2 weeks before everything changed, my father stood in the center of a glittering graduation party surrounded by nearly 50 people: relatives, family friends, law firm partners, judges, associates, and acquaintances I barely recognized, raised his champagne glass, and instead of looking at me, the daughter who had just graduated top of her nursing class, he turned toward my younger sister Olivia and said words that burned themselves into my memory forever. "I wish it were you holding the diploma tonight, Olivia. You're the only child who's ever truly made me proud." While my mother nodded beside him, and not a single person objected, defended me, or even looked my way. And I left that night, quietly, without causing a scene, unnoticed, unseen, already used to disappearing. But what my family didn't know was that this moment, the humiliation, the silence, the deliberate erasure, would be the beginning of something they were never prepared for. The Torres family had always been built on prestige and appearances. My father, Richard Torres, a senior partner at one of the most respected law firms in the city. My mother, Patricia, raised in 3 generations of lawyers. And my younger sister, Olivia, 19 years old, pre-law, brilliant and adored, the center of my parents' universe, while I was the anomaly, the disappointment, the child who dared to choose nursing, a decision that had marked me as lesser from the moment I announced it at 18, trembling with excitement over my acceptance letter, only to be met with my father's cold laugh and his words, "Nursing? You want to be a servant to doctors?" Followed by my mother's quiet sigh about family tradition. And from that day forward, every phone call revolved around Olivia's grades, Olivia's internships, Olivia's future, while I worked double shifts to pay my tuition, graduated summa cum laude, earned glowing commendations from professors, and received not a single visit, question, or congratulations from my parents, except from one person who never forgot: my grandmother, Eleanor Mitchell, a retired nurse of 40 years, the only one who called every Sunday, remembered every exam, every clinical rotation, every small victory, the same woman my father never respected. 2 months before graduation, my mother emailed me about my party with no warmth or input. The guest list finalized by my father, filled with law firm partners and Olivia's friends, not a single nursing professor or friend of mine invited because they wouldn't fit the atmosphere. And when I read the invitation card that said "Celebrating the Torres family" instead of my name, I realized the truth too late. This party was never about me. And when I confronted my father days before the event, he told me bluntly that the party would be used to announce Olivia's Harvard Law acceptance, and that I should show up, smile, and try not to draw too much attention to myself. Words that finally broke something in me. That same night, an unexpected voicemail arrived from Presbyterian Memorial Hospital asking me to call back regarding something important. And the next morning, my grandmother revealed that she had personally recommended me after years on a community health board with their recruitment director, not for praise, but because she believed in me. And 3 days later, I received the email that changed everything: a formal offer for one of the most competitive emergency department nursing positions in the state, with a starting salary higher than first-year attorneys at my father's firm, and a request to present the offer publicly at a significant event in my life, which led me to make a decision I had never dared to make before. On the night of the party, beneath crystal chandeliers and gold-lettered banners celebrating my family but not my name, I was seated at a back table while Olivia glowed at the front, and just as my father finished his toast, praising Olivia and wishing she held my diploma, my grandmother stood up and confronted him publicly, calling out the humiliation, the erasure, the cruelty. And before he could regain control, the doors opened and Dr. Samuel Webb, Director of Recruitment at Presbyterian Memorial, walked in and addressed me directly, announcing my achievements. My top of class graduation, my elite job offer, and reading aloud a letter from my nursing dean praising me as one of the most exceptional students in 15 years, while my father stood frozen, my mother speechless, and the same people who ignored me moments earlier erupted into genuine applause, forcing my parents to confront publicly what they had spent years denying. I stood up then, calm and steady, and told the room and my parents that I was done shrinking, done waiting for approval, done begging to be seen, and that from this moment forward, I would invest my energy only in people who valued me, setting boundaries that would no longer allow disrespect to masquerade as family harmony. And as the party dissolved and my father's carefully built image cracked under the weight of his own behavior, I realized I hadn't won against them. I had simply stopped losing myself. In the weeks that followed, my father's reputation at work suffered, my mother tried to shift blame onto me, and for the first time, I refused to fix problems I didn't create, while my sister, Olivia, no longer shielded by ignorance, approached me with genuine remorse and a desire to rebuild our relationship on respect rather than comparison. And as I stepped into my new life at Presbyterian Memorial Hospital, wearing scrubs that bore my name and title, holding the hands of frightened patients, receiving respect from colleagues who valued my skill and compassion, I finally understood what my grandmother had always tried to teach me, that worth isn't granted by titles, family approval, or tradition, but by the lives you touch and the boundaries you protect. And as I stood on my apartment balcony months later, watching the city lights glow, messages from my grandmother, my sister, and coworkers lighting up my phone, I smiled, not because my parents finally saw me, but because I no longer needed them to. And that, more than any toast or diploma, was the moment I truly graduated.